Hey guys, first I just want to say thank you for being willing to meet with me to chit chat about our children. Obviously we're all our dads who love our kids. We love our kids, and we all are great dads. That we train our kids in the way we do. And thank you for being awesome examples. And but still, there's these concerns in my heart that I just want to talk about. Mainly because I've just seen so many of my friends walk away from their faith. And I've seen so many of the children of my friends walk away from their faith. I mean, over and over. I can give you many examples, but and it's heartbreaking. Even recently, someone called Sarah, a friend of mine that goes to another church, and her son is doubting. And he's going through some serious doubts. And this kid went to a school, Christian. This kid was homeschooled his whole life, homeschooled, and he lived in a Christian home, and he's doubting. And I'm thankful he's talking about it. So anyway, I just feel like we need to chit chat about why is this happening? Why are so many kids walking away from their faith? The Barna Group, they know this is happening, so they did some research of their own. The Barna Group, this was a few years ago, and I forget their percentage, but they said something about how half of our children, when they grow up, and even though they're growing up in our churches, they are walking away from their faith by the time they go into college. Now, some come back later, thankful for that. But they dug deep into why this is happening, and they say it's because of the apologetic style questions. Basically, by the time they're in middle school, high school, they're starting to have questions. They're starting to doubt. And so, and by the time they're in college, they walk away because they've never gotten the answers. Also growing up, I grew up with a buddy of mine, one of my neighbors. He had two sisters. They had a great home. Their dad was incredible. This dad was like a second dad to me. I love this man. Great man. I think he was principal of our private school even when we went there in Melrose. But anyway, by the time my friend's sister grew up and went into college, she walked away from her faith like that. So I can tell many stories of that, and it's heartbreaking. But my point is, he was an awesome dad. But the friend that called us last week, awesome mom and husband, great family. Yet still, our kids, by the time they're older, will have questions. And I just feel like we need to focus on, not just the emotional side, but the mental side. Let me explain that. Okay, do you guys know who Lee Strobel is? Well, Lee Strobel is a man who was he worked for the Chicago Tribune as an investigator. He would investigate stories, really good, trained in investigation. That's what he did. He was an atheist. His wife was an atheist. Well, they were at a restaurant one night, and they had their daughter, little girl, with them. And that girl started choking. Well, some lady from another table runs over and rescues her. And as she walks away, she turns to her husband and says, "So that's why the Lord wanted us to come here tonight." Well, the mama, Lee Strobel's wife, heard that, comes over to the table and like, "What did you mean?" And the lady says, "Yeah, we were on our way to a different restaurant, and the Lord spoke to us and said, 'No, come to this restaurant.' So we did. Now we know why, to rescue your daughter." Well, anyway, Lee Strobel's wife just fell in love with Jesus, got saved, radically changed her life forever. Lee Strobel witnessed all this, but that situation did not cause him to turn to Christ. He thought his wife was delusional, emotional and delusional. He thought all religion was just deception and delusion. Well, anyway, he spent 3 years of his life researching the foundations of our faith, creation, Jesus. He started researching creation and Jesus because he wanted to prove to his wife she was delusional. But after 3 years of research, and remember, that's what he did for a living. He knew how to research. So after 3 years of researching, traveling the world researching, he had no choice but to turn to Christ because all the facts pointed to creation and pointed to Jesus. All the facts did. So I share that story because I wanted to paint a picture of two salvations, the mama and the husband, the emotional and the thinker. Now sometimes just the opposite, sometimes the men are emotional, that's fine, but my point is we need to reach the emotional and the thinker. We need to do both, not just focus on the emotional all the time. You ever wonder why so many women go to church and men don't? We say it's spiritual, and that's true, but I kind of think that it might be emotional. Churches are very emotional. I'm emotional, and I love it. I love our emotional music, our emotional word, the mood music at the end. I love it, but we need to reach both. We need to focus on both. So that's what I want to do. I want to focus on both. I want to focus on the foundation. Since we're starting this conversation, let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the foundation of our faith. So what is that foundation? Anyway, let's read this for a second. Matthew chapter 7, verse 26. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell. And built his house on the sand, pause, and the rain fell. You see, you can build your house on the sand, and it'll stand just fine until the rains come, till the winds blow. So my point is, it seems like we focus so hard on protecting our children from those winds. They're in Christian homes, Christian churches, Christian schools, or homeschools. We protect our kids, but do we train them for the storms? Because one day they're going to be outside of our homes. One day they're going to go to college or be in the workforce. We got to get them ready for those days. Got to get them ready. So that's my point. Let's talk about the foundation of our faith. So what are the ingredients? Well, Christ is the main ingredient. Jesus is the main ingredient. He's the only ingredient, really, but there's many parts to Christ. There's Jesus the Lamb, which is salvation, and we need to focus on that. We always focus. Our churches focus on that a lot. We do great at Jesus the Lamb, getting people saved. Go, go, go. We need that. We should. But we also need to focus on Jesus the Lion. He's Lord. And Jesus the Word of God, the Torah in the flesh. Jesus was the Torah in the flesh, the first 5 books of the Bible. We don't study the Torah much, but when you study the Torah, and I love it, I love the Torah. When you study the Torah, it's like I've been realizing this is the core, this is the beginning of our faith. It's the foundation. And creation is inside the Torah. It's one of the ingredients. So I want to talk about that ingredient. That's the thing I specialize in, is creation. The science, the archaeology about creation. It points to a creator. So that's the ingredient of our foundation that I want to bring to this table with you men. Let's talk about that. And I want you guys to share your thoughts on that, but also share what ingredient do you think should be in this foundation of our faith. What are your opinions on the ingredients? And let's build some solid foundations underneath the feet of our kids, man. It'll boost your faith as well as theirs. And I'm serious. When I started studying creation, the science of creation, I already was a believer, but it really just boosts your faith. It's cool. So anyway, if you guys can join me, that'd be great. Fridays, if you pick your Friday, whichever Friday, once a month, twice a month, whatever you want to do, I'll be at Jason's Deli this Friday, 11:30. And so I'm going to send you guys some text messages. If you can, go ahead and send your contact. That way everyone can know who you are. And try not to text back so much if you can, because some people don't appreciate being peppered with all of the text messages. You know how that goes. I don't mind. I love it. So if you want to talk to me, if you could send out a private text to me if you want to, just whatever you want to do. But anyway, thank you all, and I'll see you soon.